So again, we have a lot going on, and I'm hoping you're all communicating, Mr. Trump. I hope somebody's receiving my stuff that's in that little circle there. Right. I mean, it kind of looks that way, but spies can make it look that way. So it could be like a third person that's taking all this credit and only giving you parts of it and holding back enough so it doesn't work. Right. Thank you, Larry. Again, it's not political. This is government. Right. I mean, I'm not government, but I'm helping government. So I do have, there is actually a status that anybody that came against me was attempting to stop help moving to government. Right. That's another charge on them. And a lot of narcotics users and things that they used over the years. So those people probably had a narcotics reason to stop help going to the government. And I want to make sure that this thing's on. Test, test, test. Test, 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 test. Test, 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 test. Volume's not up real loud, but it's there, I guess. Right. I want to make sure it was my dongle and my other mic. So when you look at the, again, that issue came up. Again, that's Satan trying to discredit the program. Right. Right. We still need to use it. Well, but what we need to do is look at those investigations, see what may have been missed. Are there some? Was there something? Again, I'm not blaming the officers. Who would think that they would do that? That they would do something like that. Right. I mean, it's like running. It's like going into a police station and committing a crime in front of a cop. It just makes no sense. Right. But then it happens, right? Right. So, again, something going on. Again, I'm hearing click, 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 click. I don't know if you heard it this morning. It's things in my house, but it sounds like, like to slide on a weapon. I said reload, and it came up really weird. My head may come up weird in your head. So again, I don't know if under the first Trump administration, the police stations got attacked, right? I think was that part of it? All right. So again, you need to shore up security at your police stations, regardless of how cops treat me. All right. So again, I'm a big fan of police stations that can't be, neutralized by like a riot. So you're going to check. If you have a lot of window space, you might want to start blocking that up with masonry and changing your windows out to something like they use in a correctional facility or a military facility. Right. You got to look at all that stuff. And again, being lulled into a false sense of security where, they can't get us here at the police station kind of deal. Right. Thank you, Larry. Well, because it came up with something else. It came up weird. I don't know what I just say. Forget what I just said. Right. Oh, committing a crime in a police station. Right. Like it had no application. I've been noticing it all morning. Right. It's trying to make it about me. I'm like, it's not about me. It's about something. First I was wondering if the president was in danger or, one of the secretaries or maybe Musk and all that. And it didn't come up as that. And then when I said committing a crime in a police station, I said, oh, that's what it is. Right. We did have that in the first administration. An increase of attacks on police stations. Again, it goes along with the ICE thing, right? So we're moving in the same direction, but we're not. Again, we got to stop the DEI thing because we didn't use that the first time. Let's not use that. Again, I believe somebody needs to come out and explain it, but then kind of let it die a little bit, maybe completely. Again, like I say, just articulate what you're doing. We are helping immigrants in the end. It's just a larger strategic operation. Obviously, deporting an immigrant, they get upset at. But if we deport enough immigrants strategically, we'll be able to help immigrants better, whether they're here documented or undocumented. Right. Thank you, Larry. Again, we owe it to that mother that committed suicide in that shelter in New York. We owe it to her to provide a system that works. That number that Biden brought in doesn't work. There's no way we can help them. We're losing people. There's people in bondage. There's kids in bondage. Right. So when we look, right, again, it's the idea. What was that guy's name? I don't even remember him. The guy that went to ATF, it was the funny comedian guy that was down at D.C. was on a detail. I was on Ken Starr with him, and then when we had the riots in D.C., he was down there and he was making jokes. He's a funny guy. Could have been a comedian in life, right? But he went to ATF eventually. The Marl Stokes was no joke. They're trying to kill him. Right. He had like a political science type of guy. He was he could be a politician. I don't know. He was doing like study at Georgetown or something. And he used to take care of this Afghanistani. He was a homeless guy. He was a Mujahideen. But back when the 80s and early 90s, there was nothing wrong with them, right? So there was this Mujahideen dude with one leg, I think, and he was homeless, and he would let him sleep at his place every once in a while. Out of thankfulness that he was a Mujahideen for the United States, of course. Right? Thank you, Larry. Hi, how are you? So. Where was I with that? Yeah, whatever it was. So let's go back to this idea. We want to make sure that they're not, defrauding us on anything. So again, I think I brought up recently within it that we have to make sure, there should be an investigation around it. Like even DACA, there should be an investigation around DACA. Right? The statement of facts of how they entered the United States, if they can remember. Right? So you don't automatically get it. You have to actually hit the benchmarks, and it has to be, some way verifiable. Again, if you believe them, you believe them. I'm not going to tell you to put everybody out of DACA because they can't prove it. But thank you, Larry. So again, we'll get back to. I don't know why I brought up what's his name. Strategically, we'll be able to. The overall scheme of the operation is that we'll be able to even take better care of the immigrants that are here. Oh, we owe it to that woman in the shelter. I don't know how I got into it. But again, we don't want that type of thing to happen. We couldn't help her because we were overwhelmed. Again, the system is overwhelmed. So we need to get the system back under control, and then we'll be able to help immigrants better. We'll be able to give them a better life. I mean, don't just point to the one that made it. Because there's so many that don't, and there's so many criminals here. And again, criminals do affect the immigrant community. Immigrant on immigrant crime, it does exist, right? Again, some of the pedophiles, who do you think their victims are? Right? Or probably most of the pedophiles, other immigrants, and immigrant family members, and things like that. 100%. Again, that's the part maybe you never understood. That when we deport an immigrant that commits a sex crime, usually the victim is an immigrant, maybe even an undocumented immigrant. Again, you're highlighting the immigrant on U.S. citizen crime, but a lot of the young girls that are being raped are actually, immigrants. Either another family that they worked in with, right, as an immigrant. Or their own family, even. Right. Or, just happen to be there and they snatch them and rape them and then, right. Because of the nature of just immigrant community, right, of being around one another. Thank you, Larry. So again, these are things that you're missing to explain to the American public. I mean, because again, you're stuck in this talking point mode from the election, and you probably need to get out of it. Because you can explain to the American public, say, look, we're even helping the immigrants stay safe. These people don't select who their victim is. Then you see that don't, they cause that stutter like metaphysically. Again, Satan stance. All right. Because you don't do that, but do it. Well, because they lose their talking point when you explain the truth. But if you stay like this, we don't want to say that we help immigrants, right? That then they'll have their talking point. Like what they created doesn't even keep immigrants safe. You can point to individual lives, but what price for those 10 immigrants to be working at Starbucks and Walmart or wherever it is? What was the price that had to be paid? Another 10, didn't make it. Right. And some of them might be in sex trafficking. Some of them might be dead, raped. Right. But it's just the numbers are out of control. I wonder why I brought that up. I'll have to listen to this. But he was a funny guy. There's probably even a simple surgery to take care of this. I just had to get settled somewhere. I guess that's why I think I went to Oklahoma to get settled so I could better understand my injury, my disability, to decide whether I would get surgery or not. I don't believe I understood it. Because the one guy, I thought the one guy was not right. Because two people said it's fused the spine. Another guy said, nah, I'm just going to clean that out there. You got like a bone spur growing. I'll clean that out and that'll be it. And that was probably it. But it may be combined with this other thing where they do the ablation or whatever it is. Right. Again, it should have been handled back then. I wasn't given space to let it be handled. That'll damn all of you. Oh, the key was just to let me be. I mean, even when I came to Kansas, if you just let me be, I mean, instead of deep stating me and working spycraft against me to harm me, you should just let me be. I never even would have focused on this. Right. I would have believed that everything was kosher here. But of course, now I know it isn't. A lot of people are moving out right now, that time of the month. Right. Surprised they didn't move out earlier. I guess sometimes you stay an extra couple of days or something. They just shouldn't have been in my life for no reason, man. I mean, I'm like the last person that they should do this to. I mean, if it makes any sense. But again, of course, the desired result was the reverse of what they're saying. Trying to force me to commit a crime by torturing me into it. So I got to figure out what I want to do as far as massage. I don't know. Question is, can I get to somebody who knows what they're supposed to do? Right. I mean, I had it set up right. I got through that disability episode and came out fine on the other side. And it looked like it probably shouldn't have bothered me again. Again, I didn't lift anything heavy or anything, but when they started doing that Judenraus, I ended up moving and I lifted some heavy things. But again, they shouldn't be around me. Shouldn't even have started it. Again, they started it decades ago. Oh, there's something back then. Every last one of them knew I was investigating them. They knew I saw what they were doing. Right. Well, what do you want me to do? You're ruining my life, ruining my family, ruining my peace of mind, ruining my health. I'm just supposed to go, ha, 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 he, like you do, you weirdos, you psychopaths, you useless devils. So again, we have to look at that pilot. She might be one of them. She's in the Biden White House. How did she get there? Is it meritocracy or is it Me Too sexuality? How did she get the position in D.C. in that coveted aviation position? Did she actually earn it? I mean, they went out of the way to say she earned it. Right? I mean, time will tell whether she actually earned it. And if we pick pilots with 500 hours of flight time, is that the right criteria? But again, we might find that it's 750 to 1,000. Or over, 750 to 1,500. Correct. Or maybe even 1,000, I don't know. And then if it is that 500, then maybe we need to change it. Again, it might be a Me Too thing. And that that's not good. Never good. There's plenty of Me Too all over DC. Everybody knows it. Right. It's great stuff, Larry. There's a lot to investigate right now. But again, if I were all of you, I'd make sure I got my money. Soon, I need to clear out of here. Thank you much. Nah, there's no reason for me. There's no reason for me to even stay past the last lease. I was being killed, man. They're breaking into my apartment. But again, they stupefied my mind with who knows what. Maybe even drugging me. Right. They're liars, man. They're trying to project their excuses. They're liars. Trying to even convince me that they didn't do what I say they did. Trying to convince me that I'm not the victim. Disgusting, piggish, horrid, foul beasts. I mean, they're just sick, man. Because they could do it, because they can set up a system that does it, that's why they do it. They're sick. I mean, it was even going on in Naples. Everybody was coming around me was one of them. Right. So they make you believe you actually have a community somewhat forming, but it just never forms. While the cops are trying to distort your mind and the spies are trying to distort your mind and bringing little girls and little boys around. While you're just trying to live a normal life, trying to find a wife and maybe go to some religious life. Sorry. I mean, this is some sick shit they're into. Definitely. They'll say, well, we're just trying to discredit them. Bullshit. They work for the devil. They're satanic. And they're into some sick shit. Thank you, Larry. Well, I know that the pilot was that. Works for the Biden White House, very, very possible. Right. That's what her job is in the military. They want somebody out, she starts doing that crazy shit. Oh, it doesn't exist, I'm just crazy? Whole world knows it exists. It exists in the police department here, I'm sure. Me Too is situation normal. That's why I look at them like, you come against Me Too, you're all involved in some sort of Me Too thing. It's how you get your way in life to talk about Me Too and be somebody. You want to believe it's something else. So I look at them like, I'm the guy doing it. That guy over there is doing it to you right now. I never did it to anybody. That guy you playing me with is the one that's actually doing it. And then you know what happens? You know what the deep state does? When the guy or the gals that are doing this are found out, they do this operation that it's still his fault. If he wasn't around you, this wouldn't have happened to you. That's the pieces of shit that have been around me in law enforcement and the spies and the PIs. That's the pieces of shit they are. That's what they do to people's minds. That's what they do to communities' minds. They need to go to hell. But, okay, you don't want to send them to hell, then God will make the planet hell. How about that? You think it's happening? Administration's in hell for some reason. Sorry. I mean, how could you fire FBI agents like that? I mean, did you even ask Pam Bondi? And if you asked her, did she actually look at the stuff to see what it says around firing FBI agents? No, it's not very hard. You can fire FBI agents all day, but if you got to do it the right way. Right now, you could be under investigation in administration by the Office of Special Counsel because you created an obvious retaliation scenario. I mean, you're just going to listen to them and say that I'm an idiot? And they'll show you what to do? I fully believe that those FBI agents will be rich one day. Very rich. And you'll pay them all. No, I'm not ordering it. I'm just telling, don't listen to these people say I'm ordering it. I'm just telling you the future. I actually told you the future before you did it. Right. Told you not to do it. That's like the only way not to fire an FBI agent. Really. I mean, it's very, very little. But I mean, it's obvious retaliation. It's obvious a message like you do this and we do this to you. That's what it is. And if it isn't, well, that's what it looks like. They were assigned the investigation. They can't say no or they get fired. Correct. No court in the land is going to believe that you get to fire them because they did what the FBI wanted them to. Now, you could probably try to make the case that they can't sue you, but I don't think that works. I think you're outside of that you can fire them for any reason. You're in retaliation. I mean, there's no other reason. That's about the only way that you can mess up firing an FBI agent, because it's so easy to fire them. I mean, usually, what do? They take their that's why you ever notice they take their backroom clearance? I don't know if you could have done that, but I don't know if you could have done that lawfully, but I told you to ignore it, but, you know, it's not how you do it if you're going to do it. Right. It's a mess. It's a scandal in the future. It's a scandal waiting to happen. Well, I'm telling you because I hope you hear me or somebody in your administration hears me. And you can stop these people from being idiots and possibly setting you up. I don't know what it is. They'll get money. They might even get their job back. Definitely get money. But again, they all could be deep state, and they're laughing because now they just hooked up their buddies that you were going to fire anyway. Right. Now, I don't know which one or who designed it, and maybe you ordered it. I don't know. But essentially, those people are now in a position to sue and get money. I mean, it's not just a position to sue. You obviously retaliated because you're going to say you fired them because they did their job? That's what it is. Because they were told they had to do an assignment. They did it. You said you're gone because you did it. Now you can't be trusted because you did it. I mean, it's like kids having a fantasy. DOJ people probably so also. But I think it's easier to fire an FBI person than it is a DOJ person. Right. They're like the easiest federal employee to fire, and you did what you did is probably the only way not to fire them. No, I don't think. I mean, Pam Bondi can maybe mitigate, but I don't think she can defend against it. Because it is what it is. I mean, we're looking at it, it's already articulated. Like, you can't trust them because they investigated President Trump. Well, they investigated President Trump because you assigned them to it. No, there's no difference between this administration and the last administration. I told you this before. When the court looks at it, the FBI is the FBI. Right. FBI under Biden is the FBI under Trump. Agent gets told to do a job, they do their job. And, you know, it might get brought up in that court, and that's something you don't want. Playing out of, you know, your case or President Trump's case or the case against President Trump. I mean, they'll say, Judge, this was the evidence. This is what I did, and well, I just did my job. Instead of just letting it go. Again, I would have found something that was amicable. Right. And they just may have walked off. Again, the Elon escape package or whatever it is bullshit. They wouldn't take that. Knowing that they did nothing wrong. You see, that's how this works. There's no reason. You can't, again, it's just like you're doing it in all of your paperwork, right? And I don't know if Pam Bondi sat in on any of it or not. I can't tell you. But you did it in the trans thing. You cannot make a statement by the nature of somebody being trans or having gender dysphoria that you did. Some of it works, but not all of it. In fact, it's probably a violation similar to, I think, the mindset in the federal court mindset in the Title IX cases is certain. If you take that mindset, I wrote it up wrong. I said it was a violation of Title IX. But if you look at the violations of Title IX in reference to gender dysphoria and trans people, it's in your executive order. You did the same thing. So the court has already ruled something. Similar, but it's Title IX. You're saying they're dishonest because they're trans. You can't do that. Who told you to do that? It's like saying Mr. Grinnell is dishonest because he's gay. And he doesn't hand out I'm gay cards to everybody he speaks to. Amador, a gay man, shuck your hand. That was actually in the head when I saw it. Someone was laughing. I'm not there's anything wrong with gay men. Right. Thank you, Larry. No, it's funny. I said Mr. Grinnell. No, boop, there he is. Right. Thank you, Larry. Well, I said Mr. Grinnell should let everybody know he's gay. He should have a gay sign on his shirt with a little star, Jewish star. So again, you're making these ludicrous statements that are just not worth even making. It has a long shot attached to it because of the decision on DACA. And again, this women whimsy. You'll say, well, I'm very consistent, but you're not president forever. Right? That's obvious. Biden took over and women whimsied it. Well, I'm not responsible for Biden. Yes, you are. You're the government. Quit thinking that this is that you have a political argument. You don't. You're the government. And the government that those FBI agents work for is the same government that's there now. And that government told them to investigate Donald Trump, and they did their job. They can't say no. They lose their job. Correct. Thank you, Larry. They wouldn't even get a good reference. Thank you. Now, I'm not telling you they're good people. I don't know. Right. But generally, you get assigned an assignment, you do it. Unless you think there's a crime in it. And again, they're going to lay out the statement of facts. I mean, you're living in a fantasy world, all of you. Thank you, Larry. It's not their decision to investigate. It's not their decision to prosecute. But they have to do their job. Thank you, Larry. Again, let's say you said all the right things about trans people to get them out of the military. The court's still going to have to look at the question. Again, they already it's the same attorney, so I didn't give them the idea. It's the same groups of attorneys that do these things. Right. Again, of course, they studied the DACA case and there's other cases. Why? Because to find out, what it was that shoots your stuff down. Right. What they'll do is attorneys will look at the cases that Donald Trump and his administration brought that they lost and look for those same mistakes in these cases. Right. And obviously, even if the mistake is there, they'll argue the same argument. All right. Well, the argument is that they set up lives, they trusted the government with this job that they had, and they were trying to move forward. Again, the one thing you have going for you, if you offer them medical retirements, the court might accept it. Right. A full medical retirement. But then again, if they opt, well, that's nice, Your Honor, but I wanted to spend my time in the military. I made friends. I'm a military. It's like me in law enforcement. They knew that there was no hope for me, but to be with law enforcement people. Right. I mean, maybe religious people too, but right. That's why they kill that community for me before I even get to the city. I'm actually a legend. They should be taking care of me. Right. Thank you, Lawrence. I mean, when I went to Naples, I didn't hang out with them, but I always talked to the sheriff's deputies when they were in working out. Review the troops while I was in the gym. Thank you much. I have no idea. None of this should have ever happened. None of it. But you made statements that can't, that are not factual. They can't be factual. They're a violation of discrimination by the nature of them being trans or dishonest. They have gender dysphoria. That's proven. I told you to revisit the gender dysphoria stuff so you don't make the mistakes. Because it does exist and you're not going to disprove it. No matter what you think about the policies around gender dysphoria exists and you can't disprove it. Even if you come up with a way to heal it, let's say my stuff works. You give them male hormones and estrogen and female hormones, like to the birth gender hormones, and it works. Let's say 90% of the time it works. You still can't disprove gender dysphoria. It exists. Right? Even if you know how to fix it, it still exists. Thank you, Larry. So you're saying by the nature of somebody having gender dysphoria that they're dishonest. Essentially what you said some other choice things too. I guess not choice, but things. Right? I guess to them it feels like choice words. That because they have gender dysphoria, they don't meet the standard. Well, I think maybe you could make that thing, and well, you're saying that it hurts discipline and well, you know, it may be more about the person that can't just do their job when there's a trans person around them somewhere, right, than it is about the trans person. Right. But again, you know, I think there could be an argument made if it was a consistent policy that the court would approve. Now, being an inconsistent policy is an issue. Again, you can't fire FBI agents today that you told to do assignment yesterday. It doesn't matter if you were president or not. It's the same agency. Right? Same thing with DOJ. I mean, Jack Smith did the right thing and moved on. Again, because he's the head guy, it would be a detractor to begin with, even if he were to stay. Right. Thank you much. And of course, he got nowhere. The Democrats give him great jobs. Right, he'll go find some big law firm and just, you know, probably drink mint juleps and hang out on Caribbean islands most of the time. Like Shrazak and all them. Right. So you're not destroying these people. That's not happening. They're going to be taken care of. You're destroying yourself. The statement of facts is going to say, to begin with, I was assigned this assignment by supervisory agent so-and-so. I lawfully and diligently executed this investigation based upon my training and experience and the ethical requirements of the Justice Department and FBI, I guess they could say. Fast forward, I was fired for it. They just fired me because they assigned me to this. That's essentially it. It's more about your problem than it is theirs. Now, I don't know if you can trust them. I'm not going to tell you that. Right. I don't know anybody is. But in reality, the court will say it's more about your problem not being able to be around them than it is their problem not being able to be around you. Right. There's no surety for a job in the FBI at all, except for something like this. Right. Look, I told you how dirty the government is. I'm not telling you to be dirty, but you could have set those people up in like a few months and they'd have been gone anyway. Right. Like, why? Oh, I saw Agent so-and-so do this. I saw Agent so-and-so do that. Because like, what'll happen is those people will be like they'll know if they lie about the other agent that they'll get something, right? So there's enough people in the FBI to lie about those agents, right? And then they'd be going, then you could get rid of them, right? Or pull their clearance and then they have to resign. Correct. So you just kind of like you ruined it. And I'm not telling you to do that. That's dirty. I shouldn't have told you. But that's how they do it, right? I mean, I've told you already. That's what they kind of tried to do with me. At a certain point, it was time to go. I left. Went to a. They went forward my retirement paperwork because they were trying to make a package to just fire me, and they can't. I'm on sick leave. I go on sick leave. I had like a million sick leave days because I never took sick leave. I work more than Elon, believe me. Elon's a scammer. They wouldn't let me sleep in the office. I tried to. Great man. But I have a ton of sick leave. So I go on sick leave. And I think I was able to get my Social Security by then. Yeah, I did. They told me, look, you have to get Social Security. I fought. I said, no, I don't. You're paying me, not Social Security. It's your fault. That's what I said to the Marshal Service. I don't want Social Security to pay me. It's coming out of your budget. They said, but you have to. You have to. That's the first part of this. I don't know if I have to. I probably don't. But I said, okay. I want to get this thing done. I'm going to go get my Social Security. So I go in, get my Social Security. So I forward all my packet forward with Social Security in there. I guess that at that point I'm disabled, right? Right. Right. It wasn't temporary. It was permanent. In fact, they tried to scam when I got my Social Security. They went and said that I couldn't take care of myself, that I needed a guardian. So I said, no, you know what's going to happen, Mom? My mom said, I'm not going to be your guardian. They're playing a game. That's why Mom was still on board with me, And, the stock market will crash until it's fixed. And of course, their lives went crazy, and then they go, okay, don't worry, you don't need the guardian. I hate Larry. But again, I had my paperwork in. I was waiting. So I get this fitness for duty thing on sick leave after putting in my retirement after I have Social Security. After Social Security found me disabled. I'm pretty sure that's how it worked. Maybe it came after, but I think that's how it worked. Right. Yeah, it had to have, because that stuff like zoomed as soon as I contacted the senator. Everything had to be already done. Right. Yeah. Hughes and Henry and all them. So then I said, well, I got to call the senator. Well, the senator, of course, it happened real quick after that. Oh, So again, I've been on sick leave for I don't even know how many. I think it happened like in December or something. So I've been on sick leave probably since like March or something. Right. And I already submitted all my stuff. Correct. And they're going to send a fitness for duty. Oh my God. Obviously, that's the point. That's why I put that in there. You caused such damage that no longer existed. Right. Thank you, Larry. That's what disability is. Right. They tried to make it like derogatory, like a disciplinary action. You believe that? Should have been sued just for that. So like I said, that Muslim paradise, Senator Lautenberg is living that in heaven. for getting my retirement through. All these virgins dancing around him. I didn't know St. Larberg from anybody. It was actually his woman that worked for him, the woman that worked for him. I don't remember her name, but she took care of it, I'm sure. Right. I did have the letter until recently. I think it just got shredded somehow. It got like, again, they do stuff to you and stuff goes by the wayside. Right. I have a copy of it somewhere probably. Right. I have stuff in files. I think her name was Sneed, actually. Sneed? Thank you, Mary. Thank you, sir. Well, it's weird because I worked in New Jersey, this case. It was like a special assignment to protect, escapees. It was a case against escapees. It ended up in mistrial, I think. I can't remember. Actually, no, that wasn't it, was it? No, that wasn't it. Oh, no. It was a Camden mayor case. Right, it was a Camden mayor case. We had to present the witness, Ralph. He was Witzek. Ralph Natali. And so I was in New Jersey like right before it, and it just was weird, the whole thing. Right. But they were stalking me, and we were like in a courtroom just chilling out. And in a courtroom, I go over to the computer and I went online or something, and somebody walks in and says, "Get off the computer" or something. It's the deep state. They were stalking me, right? No, there's nothing wrong with what I was doing. They're just playing a game. Again, trying to create paranoia, right? Now, the person wasn't. She was just probably like the judge's clerk or something, right? Yeah, we were just sitting like in an adjacent courtroom with the Witzek guy. Right? It's like, I don't know, the inspector, and probably like 3 or 4 of us or something. Right. Camden mayor took money or something. But they had like cameras. Like they would meet at the horse track or something, I think. I think it was the horse track. And they had cameras like watching the area. They somehow knew where they were meeting. So was Ralph already? Ralph may have already flipped. I can't remember. But they had cameras watching the two of them. Right. So Ralph's daughter became a lawyer. So I figured it all out. I thought, this is what the mafia is doing. The mafia started like having their kids become lawyers. But again, I figured out later that some of these people were becoming cops too. Right. Or agents. They were being infiltrated. 100%. And like some of these families in New York that are just, rich people, they're crooks. That's the thing. Right. Well, it's one thing to be a crook, another thing to assassinate cops because, you don't like the cop or the law enforcement officer in my case. Right. So again, you having protection doesn't mean reach out and kill cops because, they serve you some process or something that the court ordered. So you have to be careful about all that stuff, right? Because now you're out about it. Right. Boy, it's warm today. Jeez. But it's nice. I'm out here getting sun. There's a helicopter. Is that a Lakota? No, I don't think. Nah, it's like some Bell. Probably Bell. Oh no, that's one of those. I don't know. What is it? That could be really cool. But it's like a civilian version or something. I don't know. It's the other one. That built the Maryland State Police helicopters. You know how it has that like ducted fan in the tail? Right. So again, just get smart. I mean, get Palm Bondi in there. She's got some discernment, I'm sure. If she lets you do it, then she's nuts. It's hard to find good help to a point in the government while I'm not there. Which means I'm crazier. Because of crazy in her. Thank you, Larry. Well, I don't know what kind of judge you think is going to say that you rightfully fired agents that were part of an assignment they were commanded. They were essentially commanded. I mean, in the federal government, they tell you to do a case. Now, I know I brought up with Karen Shelton, but that's a unique situation where she said she wasn't going to do a judicial security investigation, and I did it. Right. That's pretty much it. If nobody wanted to do something, they gave it to me. But I had my own stuff to do too, right? I mean, there's no reason for them to have treated me this way. Remember, the whole thing is a psychological operation since the beginning, right? And again, the only thing I can understand is, or think that was the nexus to that, mens rea, right, is that they did Doug Bettman. So I'm the next guy. I replace him, and I come in. So they're all getting something from that. They all got ups, money, time off, whatever it was. 100%. Doug Bettman was hit. See, it was like a CIA hit. So they're already starting on me because they want that. They don't care who I am. They're going to get theirs. So here's the rookie, and they're going to try to turn it into something else. Now, remember, I had already did 7 years active and 1 year inactive in the United States Army, and then almost 2 years in the Federal Bureau of Prisons, just short of it. Right. So I wasn't like your average rookie. I was one of the first sapper leaders in the United States Army. Probably one of the most junior ones also. It was July 86, right? And I had entered the military in November of 84. It was just about, 20 months in the Army. Not even 2 years. Right. Once I went to Egypt, it was over. I went there and I ran like the whole time, like when I was off. And then we worked in the desert, like we're in the desert. We're doing like construction projects, mixing cement, and the cement mixer wouldn't lift up on its own, so the hydraulics were messed up. So we'd have to lift that thing up with all that powder in there to dump it into the mixer. There's no reason any of them are in my life. None whatsoever. Again, they're creating the scenario that would, visually lets them in life, but of course it's a crime. They're committing crimes against me. Disabling me further. Every last one of them. I don't give a shit what they tell you. You don't have to create fake worlds around people while you think they're getting somewhere socially. Again, this fits what Trump says, but, is he real about it? 100%. You have to understand, Trump's been tortured, so you have to try to get all of this level So you don't end up fighting your way out of a hole the entire time for the next so many years. No, the thing did say that Elon Musk's days are numbered. And then, like, this thing started coming into my, like, spam. But spam that doesn't go to spam. Right? And it's always says, like, Elon Musk. And then today it actually said Elon Musk and United Healthcare. Right. Make it lunch. Yeah, I'm probably not the only person receiving that. Although maybe I am. Could be the people I'm speaking about. Right. Yeah, it's just like everything else I say. I'm giving you a psychic reading. Right. I mean, just, me yelling at Elon Musk is something separate. It's just a government employee thing. Well, he did the same thing to Hegseth, kind of, not as much because he wasn't as much there. Right. Well, Hegseth had to be ruled, but then that allowed him up to be confirmed. Right. Ah. Thank you, Lawrence. He just has to be careful with the term DEI. Also, it's just let it rest. The meritocracy. It doesn't. It's just it's a colorless word to most people. It's just some people find it offensive. Well, explain what you're talking about. Just stick to that term. The most qualified people will be put in these positions, regardless who they are. Again, if you're trying to put trans out and all that, so there are requirements, but right. Thank you, Larry. Well, you have to realize that gender dysphoria exists and it's a disability. Now, it kind of fits your idea of putting them out of the military. It's a disability, and we don't think it's going to be conducive, that kind of thing. But you went to the point to say because they have that, they lack a certain elements of character. Like you took the Christian church standpoint, but it's not. It doesn't fit the lawful requirement. It doesn't even fit the Christian church standpoint. Right? You took whatever the modern church is made of this thing politically. Right. Well, because really the Christian church mentality is there, but for the grace of God go I. Right. That's really it. Right. It's very hard to be in government and be part of that. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Larry. And believe you me, there, but by the grace of God go I. These people tried to make me trans. This is part of what they were doing. Thanks, Larry. This is real. That's why I'm tortured, because I wouldn't become what they wanted me to become. But again, in that, and no, God would have rather me just have a quiet life. He made that clear from the beginning. Right. But in that, I learned about who trans people, because I'm getting connected into those communities, because they're trying, that's how they do it. I brought it before. Like if they want to make you a mass murderer, they connect you into mass murderers inside. But then, of course, I'm in there and I'm psychic. I'm a prophet. I start reading stuff. And figuring out how this is all happening. Right. So I understand who trans people are because I was connected in. Not that, I've ever been around trans people all that much or had any relationships or friendships even with them. Right. But I could read the reality of it. Right. Well, I'm just staying out in the sun. How many hours is it? So again, I wish I had not been injured and I could be inside so I can help you. But I want to know if Pam Bondi looked at that executive order before you put it out. That's what I want to know. So you news people, you got to find out, because I'll rule her if she's dead. Right. Because you're making an argument that's not legally defensible. There's no reason to do that. Like when you're running for office, yeah, you can do that all you like. I brought that up before. Like when you run for office, you actually commit fraud. You actually commit fraud. Democrats do also. Right. Well, because you're conning people and they're sending you money. Right. I mean, you call it like talking points. Right. Some of the stuff you say is not true. Right. That's fraud. You say something not true. Somebody sends you money based upon that untruth. That's fraud. So again, you're no longer in that mode. Right. Wake up. Right. No, it's really fraud. And it isn't just, everybody does it. So it's not like, oh, Trump did that. No, everybody does it. It's actually textbook fraud. Oh, we got beeped by somebody. And car beeps when you say something. Sometimes it's not. So again, actually, political raising of money is textbook fraud because you not all the time, but they say untruth and then somebody sends them money. But again, everybody does it, so they don't prosecute. How you doing? So they don't prosecute it. Right. But you're not in that mode as far as the Trump administration. You got to get out of it. Trans people cannot be considered anything other than disabled, and that you could maybe put them out of the military if the court accepts it, but you can't say that they have character flaws because of it. Right. I mean, I'd like to see. I'd like to know if Transbondi. Oops. Pam Bondi. No, Goose is like Lautenberg. Rick Guzman's going to heaven, as long as he didn't like do me dirty later. Like he may have twisted his head. Kill him! Ah! They twisted Snyder's head. I never knew what it was. They did the same thing. I know they did Rick Snyder because he was like freaking on me. Like, what the hell's going on here? Right. He was being psychologically operated. Right. And again, I told you I figured it out when he was freaking out about the ambulance. So they're running sirens around him. What did Goose tell me about the investigation? I don't even think it was true. I think it was a rumor. Right. I can't remember. Something about it. Oh. Was it this? I can't remember. It may have been. I can't remember what. It had to do with a tow truck and Jonathan Luna's vehicle. And I think he said that there was no evidence of tire tracks or something. I don't know if it's true. Or something like that. I didn't really pay attention. I mean, I'm trying to stay alive, If Jonathan Luna's, friend from the FBI hadn't messed up my life, I'd have no connection to it. Right. But it was weird because it could have been they could still put the psychological pressure, increase it, just so he'll do something. Right. Around when I would talk, I talked to him a week earlier. That's the only time I ever talked to him in my life. And he said, me or you and my friend, the person that I didn't say her name. Her name is. I think, like my friend or something like that. I just saw her when I was going to the gym and she was like, ah! So, right. And again, look, I don't know how much she was part. She had friends. So she was living an okay life. I was a down person throughout the entire thing. And of course, now she has a great life. Right. Oh, my God. Well, there could have been, again, I knew there was, there were depths of groups of these people. Right. So he was I brought up to investigators before. You may be investigating somebody and not responsible. Right. But, there's somebody following your investigation and you should look for that. Causing, psychologically operating the person you're investigating. Again, this is how they recruit people sometimes. Right. They get inside the middle of their investigation. Right. No, every day is stress. Every day is fighting it. It's just what they do. I mean, they just don't stop. I mean, of course, if I sit in my apartment, the only thing it's going to do, online, it'll be fighting it. Right. Oh, it's evil. Again, some of it's Satan's stance, but if they don't do it the way they do it for as long as they do it, then Satan's stance doesn't really appear all that much. They're ruining someone's life, not discrediting. You're trying to kill the person. They intentionally did stuff to Jonathan Moon to cause death. I mean, some of these people are just serial killers, but they try to make a story around their serial killing, like it's some official duty. So it also, again, goes back to the woman, I won't tell you her name. Well, because I don't know what happened. Again, I just wanted it to be neutralized and us to be okay to say hi to one another. Right. But John was her friend, and I was attempting to be her friend. And we both had issues off of this thing. So who did John and did me? Maybe somebody that was like obsessed with her. For all we know, it's at Silicon Valley. Correct. Maybe they were stalking all of us. Thank you, Larry. Oh my God. Thank you, Larry. But then again, it looked like it had some CIA component to it. Yeah. And again, could it be all the above to a certain degree? Right. I mean, in all those years, they couldn't just let me live my life. Knowing all I wanted was a wife and a church, really. And initially, that's all I wanted. Right. And again, I would never said anything. I never thought it was anything. We didn't know the deep state exists. Maybe everybody else did. I didn't. Even when I left, I didn't know it existed. Right. Yeah, Johnny Hughes was deep state. That's how he got the job. Right. Yeah, all you do is let me live my life. It would have been peaceful for everybody. And in fact, people will tell you when I was living my life, it was peaceful for everyone, generally. Right. Again, I gave them the surge information. I don't know if it's anybody else's idea too, but I sent that into Senator Nelson, I guess Mel Martinez, and Connie Mack. Maybe not Connie Mack, but probably Connie Mack. But my idea of a surge was to go into Pakistan. Because you had to take out the Ho Chi Minh Trail. It's a classic Vietnam, North Vietnam, South Vietnam issue. The supply base was up in Pakistan. And I guess also in Iran to a certain degree. They only did part of what I told them. Right. But if you would have surged, like I told you, you'd have found Osama bin Laden before 2010. Right? Because he'd have had to run. Yeah. Thank you, Larry. Well, because it's just like one day I'm sitting there, I'm like, they're still there? What are they doing? Thanks, Larry. Well, the idea is the whole deployment, the plan is to leave as soon as possible, even when you're deploying. Again, you leave security arrangements because if you ever need to redeploy, at least you're not the occupier. When you become the occupier, you're going to lose. You're going to lose when you become the occupier. Just tell yourselves that. Check your head, guys. So you have to not look like the occupier. You have to look like the liberator. So you go in and liberate, and then as soon as you can, you pull off. You leave spec ops. You send units in, like on rotational basis, but you're not actually there. And again, you kill too many kids. I mean, the number of collateral damage kids in our wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, I never knew the numbers were that high. I would have told you about it. I never knew you were killing so many kids. When I saw the number, I mean, I think it's higher, especially condensed, in Israel. But so you never win doing that. In fact, like some of the new Hamas people, or because of all that murder, And again, you don't see it as murder. That's okay, but God sees it as murder. You have to wake up, right? Again, I've never supported Hamas in my life. I'm a Fatah man. I was trying to get rid of them by using Fatah, like indigenous forces, right? Right. That Fatah is Palestinian Authority, right? So all you needed was a couple Green Berets over there to take over Fatah. It had happened very quick. Right. So my point was use the indigenous forces you can use to get rid of Hamas, because then you're not the occupier. You know what I mean? You're the liberator. Right. You always want to be the liberator. You don't want to be the occupier. So you have a drop dead date for getting out of there. You're bulking your forces out of there. Well, the way it ended, obviously, it been better than what happened. Well, because they were able to recruit. You kill all these kids, all the kids' uncles are going to become Taliban, right? Or the nephew, or not nephew, but the cousins, right? Parents, right? Or at least help those people. That's one of the reasons Taliban won. You killed too many kids. You became more of a threat than Taliban did, right? For a lot of people. Maybe not everybody, but right. So, like when I started trying to empower Fatah in the Bush plan in 2007, 2008, that was based upon, also based upon, Green Beret, indigenous forces. Again, I was never Green Beret. I was sapper leader. I was going to go there as a medical sergeant, but as a primary and then secondary engineering sergeant, right? But I read in Stars and Stripes that they said you don't want to do it. I mean, directly, you don't want to do it. It's corrupt. Stay away. Special Forces Special Forces people were rebelling against it. Whatever was going on. Again, I think it was just deep state takeovers. Right. So I think I skirted the deep state takeover when I got out of the military, but then it was already in the civilian government to a certain degree, and then they increased it around 2000. It doesn't mean Bush had anything to do with it, but they used that administration change to do it. I'm convinced that if that one guy would have got in there, the union guy from Baltimore City or Baltimore County, he was a detective, like a narcotics detective. Right. I think this wouldn't have happened in my life. Right. 100%. Thank you, Larry. Again, because he wasn't deep state, and of course he's a union rep. You're not going to get it. You're not going to come in our office and do anything in our office, that's going to violate that psychology, that mentality, right? Nothing better than a marshal that was a union rep in a police department, right? A major county police department. So again, God was trying to get something on there. Right. That was the guy that I wanted in there anyway. Right. I thought he was going to make it. Right. Well, because we were related to Baltimore City and Baltimore County as far as a lot of the operations we were on. Right. Not so much the state police. Again, we hired some of their people. Thank you, Larry. You need to thin these private eyes out there that are doing this stuff. God's not mocked, believe me. Right. They're killing people, man. May not happen today, but they're setting it up for future in their life. Right? I'll die earlier in life because of what they did to me. They murdered me, actually, through spycraft. But it's not going to happen until it happens. Right? And of course, they disabled me. Thank you very much. These operations are designed to have a person die younger. So right off the get-go. I mean, after a few years of it, you've already trimmed days and years off of somebody's life. But even from the beginning, after a few years, they're already trimming years off of their victim's life. So it's already murder. It's just going to take time to effectuate. Again, all I was looking to do was find a wife and join a church. That's it. Like when this initially happened, when I left the government all that. Again, that's what the Bible tells you to do, as far as New Testament. Probably also says it somewhere in the Old Testament. But they're all the Christians, right? You know, even I was told in the midst of all this that there were liberal LGBTQ people that study conservative culture that do this. And they come in and they use church jargon and they make a church argument against me. Right? But they're actually liberal operators. They're like liberal Democratic Party operators. And they got the Republicans to kill me. Like they're militant LGBTQ. And when they come in, they tell you that they're church people and they have the jargon and everything. Maybe make some donations to your church. That's how CIA does it. And that's kind of how this thing's modeled after. Or what this thing's modeled. The real world. And like they'll tell people, well, we're trying to set him free, you're here to help him, you do this, and he passes, and then it's over. It's a lie. There is no way for it to pass through it. Right? In fact, back in the day, I'd just get away from it as quick as I could because I was younger and it didn't matter. Right? Now they got me. I should have stayed with my trailer, right, and traveled around. I just couldn't get to it. Should have never went because they do stuff. So I felt like maybe I could get to an apartment in a normal life. Right? I was so sick of living in those little. Again, they're messing with my laundry. They actually put stuff in my laundry, messed up my laundry. Right. Right. So you're going to be pushed to get to some place where you can do laundry privately. Right. But then they block you from it. Again, depletion. So again, that was going on, or I probably would have kept my trailer and continued traveling. Right. It probably wouldn't have been a better choice, but you know, can't see it till you can see it. And I think some of it was also trying to get to massage therapy, which I never got to. Right. And again, they had people even in Oklahoma knocking on my wall. But I think it was a person upstairs. You know, they want you to believe that it's one person and it's them, right? One group of them was put out. Right? There was somebody in the room next to me, and I believed it was them. Well, they're giving me pain. I believe I was drugged, and this thing flared up again when I was in Garland. It was doing much better, and then it flared up when they showed up. But then they were putting socks in my laundry. I caught them. There were socks in my laundry. Okay. No, not F you, all of you. We'll take them down and destroy them. And so then they started knocking, like I'm drugged, and I have all this pain, and they start knocking on my wall. But you can't know what apartment it is, especially in a drug state. Right? You say it's the guy behind you. But I think it was the guy that was behind me and up in another apartment because he showed himself. But then again, he might not be. It just maybe you say it's him and it's not him, you know? Right. I mean, decades, man. Fuck them and fuck the families, boy. Over and over again. Not here to play a game with devils, because that's who you all really are. Right? Kind of minimize it, say you're saving the world from me. Again, that second crash, you need to look at it as to whether there's some sort of direct energy that took it down. Thank you, Larry. And that would be the crash in Philadelphia. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Larry. Again, it's just too weird. Could be Satan's stance, but right. Thanks, Larry. I just wish I had a wife because I'm sure she'd have learned massage therapy and kept me well. And right now I could ask her to do something. Again, that's what my goal was. Just a wife. They're trying to make me gay, and I'm investigating that whole thing. Right. But again, I obviously was looking for a wife. I'm looking for a church, at least in the beginning. Thank you, Rich. Thank you, Larry. I mean, I wasn't looking to have sex. Actually, the only reason I had sex with people was because of the psyop. I felt obligated to show them that I was heterosexual looking for a woman. Because that, the way they set it up. And it wasn't all that much. Again, it was a one-night stand, and what was the other ones? Angie. And that was, maybe a handful of times. My whole life. And I did get into the cam thing a little bit, but not much at all. Again, I was dating the woman. Right. But again, that's what the psychological torture does. Like, if you don't do it, then you're tortured more. Then they tried to game me there. I played that one up. Right. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, March. Now, there's definitely a link between whoever these government people are and the private sector criminals and the private sector porno people. Again, they're all connected. Right? Unless they were hacking in and manipulating, which I don't think so. I think they just paid them. And it could be CIA. That's who it logically is. Right? CIA and their foreign counterparts. Could be Five Eyes. Again, I tried to research that one time. Five Eyes could be doing this. Again, trying to sexualize people in the public and extort them and everything else. Again, Trump's a victim of it. His whole relationship with what's his name? Epstein was a setup. 100% Larry. Like, I have nothing in life. And I have had no life, and I'm this great guy, right? Well, how the porn, you don't think porno should exist, right? How these porn hubs exist? Spy agencies keep them in business. Just so they can manipulate people. Obviously, that person would have nothing if the spy agency said they get nothing. Correct. Thank you, Marsh. So again, when I try to tell you that people are innocent, I mean, it's more than just some fluffy metaphysical thing. But again, of course, some of you are part of that machine that causes people to fall and would say, well, if they were God the right way, they wouldn't fall. I mean, this is kind of their mentality. While they cause them to fall. They're the thing in the scriptures that, you're warned about. Again, they're Satan incarnate. Each one of them is a form of Satan incarnate. They incarnate Satan to cause people to fall. And then to accuse them, right? After they cause them to fall. I got more Bible and Scripture and Torah in me than anybody in the history of this world. And you did this to me. And I mean, I also have more Sikh Guru, not Guru, was it Sikh Guru Granth Sahib. I have more Hare Krishna stuff than anybody has ever been on the planet. I mean, there's evidence that one of my personas is actually a brother of Krishna. But I don't know. I mean, we're good friends. I mean, because it's Hashem. It's all Hashem when you really get to it. Krishna is Hashem. It's one of his, things he does to try to bring about, again, Rabbi Jacob Emden and some of the others had figured it out. That, this was all something. Hashem's trying to bring about something. Right? Or, again, it doesn't necessarily mean Hashem's bringing it about, but the thing of Hashem is. Right? Again, because Hashem is like a person. You can have Hashem interact with you as a person, like a spiritual person. But then there's also the machine of Hashem. Well, because, again, you always wonder, well, what's the incarnation thing? What's this? What is all this stuff? Well, Hashem likes to interact with people. So, Hashem kind of lives vicariously through us incarnating and having these experiences. Right. No, you're right. Hashem put it in my head. It's an experiment that went horribly wrong. It's essentially what it is. But again, Hashem keeps a vigil on me, because again, there's probably no way that I wouldn't go back home to heaven, but Hashem wants to make sure that part happens. Again, Hashem was like, when we leave this planet, we're going straight up, and it's you and me. Well, so I had stuff in my life that they had blocked and I didn't know. Right. So like if I look at a telescope online, they come against it. And I don't end up getting the telescope. But at certain points, I was going to do other things like astronomy and other stuff that I had been interested in over my lifetime. And I had no idea that I had stopped looking because they blocked me. But what they're doing is they're willing up pornography, they're willing up gay, they're willing up, child sex, they're willing up all that stuff that they shouldn't be willing up. They'll tell you they are for the reverse, right, to stop me from that. But at some point, I received a blip that somebody called them out on it. And they said, but, what you're doing sounds like what he's saying you're doing. We're law enforcement officers, and we've watched, investigations our whole life. And when we watch you, we believe you're trying to cause something that you shouldn't be causing. Right? And they said, well, he's just done it too many times, so, we're trying to cause it again so we can finally arrest him. This is the kind of shit they say. Right? Jesus Christ. Thanks, Larry. Thank you, Larry. I mean, you're going to be disabled unless you become what they want you to become. And then you're a criminal or something. Maybe you can be put to death. Right? Thank you, Mary. Well, I don't know what's going on in the FBI. It doesn't make any sense. Right? Drig or Dregs, what is the name? No. But again, that's the only way that you can fail in firing FBI agents. I don't think there's any other way. Right. Thank you, Larry. Okay, you have to stop your people from projecting all of you. Because they have, I couldn't see it before. I would just get a panic attack. But now I see what you did to cause the panic attack. They're going through a series of thoughts to try to trigger things. Now Now, there's no reason they're doing it. Again, they're crooks, and they're doing crook shit. There's limitation on politics and everything else, and that's the law. Again, you can try to kill me again like you did the whole time, and maybe one day you'll do it, but again, you'll go to hell for it. That's been proven. No, I couldn't read what they were doing to me. Again, that's the difference between now and then. They're projecting. I mean, it could be ultrasonic. I don't know, right? But it's some sort of projection, and it tries to pick up a series of thoughts in my mind that would cause a panic. But it has something to it that kind of causes panic. But I can shut it down now, right? Thank you, Larry. They should have been forced to stay away from me. That simple. Again, the world's that corrupt. There's no real security. And the worst thing you do is go in government and try to do the right job. Right? No, I'd have been fine, man. I'd have been healthy my whole life. I only one of the healthiest people you're ever going to meet. Right? Again, that's why they take that as a challenge, because you're healthy. Let's take his health. Right? I mean, they're running disruption operations to stop people from going to doctors, even when they have health care. So essentially, they're psychologically torturing their victim and empowering others to come against that person seeking health care. Right. All you do is let me just complete that life that I designed for myself to just get treatment as far as physical therapy. And, that wasn't the only time they did it. They put everybody else in to say certain things and do certain things that would freak me out. Correct. And there's spells attached to it. So all these people attaining devil status when they became that thing. Yeah, but go to hell. There's just, the religion makes no sense till you hear me explain it. Hell makes no sense till you hear me explain it. Majority of people, just the everyday person, they're innocent. They're just trying to get through life. They have no power to live this perfect life that nobody else is living anyway. But some people have power and money to make it appear that way. Right. Thank you much. Again, of course, the church isn't living it either. I mean, Beck's Antifa operative, again, she's a leftist, but it's useful for a cop, for a healer, for a cop, for a religious person to understand what's happening in law enforcement in the church. Because you're not generally seeing it in news. When's the last time you saw something about a cop having sex with a kid? Go to Antifa operative on Blue Sky, and you'll see it. They'll tell you she tells you about all the cases, so you can understand what you need to heal, what the condition of law enforcement is. Right. And she also, cops and religious people, Christians. Again, she's pro a lot of stuff you may not be pro, but the information's there. It's very useful. And you can study it to see if you think they were manipulated by an outside entity. Like, if I had no pain, I wouldn't care about my life. I'd just be like, oh, well. Right. And I told them that. I said, as long as you don't cause my physical health to go beyond a certain point. Again, they were told every time. It wasn't a challenge. I just said, God was putting it through me that it would change. And the world totally changed. Right. Now, if you can get me well again, it'll change back. But again, it should have happened 4 years ago. Trump should have been looking out for me. I should have been able to speak to people in Santa Fe, women, without being harassed and having them told that they can't talk. Obviously, you told her she couldn't talk to me. Right. You're going to take her kids or some shit. I know it works. I was in the Marshal Service. Right. Thanks, Larry. Thank you, Larry. I don't even know if she had some romantic attachment to me because that wasn't where I was. But I really wanted to be her friend and give her a healthier life. That was really what I was looking at. Her parents were diabetics. Right? And I just wanted to get her out of that candy thing and get her into fitness. Because I said, look, you just go to the gym with me. That's it. So, remember I told you, again, I never know what everything is until it is. But Hashem had told me that it would be like, what he's trying to do with my life was make it like, what is that guy's name? The Angel Show. Michael Landon, right? Where I'd go into a life and I just try to help people. But there probably wouldn't be any, like the next episode, because there wasn't going to be much life. Right? 100%. So each episode begins new. So I was kind of in her life, apparently, to help her with her health. And I don't know if she had a romantic attachment or not. And the weird part is, she's with a young guy. I mean, he's of age, but, she's like 35 and he's like 21. So it's like, I'm not the one doing this. The other person is. Thank you, Larry. Well, what's my best advice to Trump is to slow down. He was able to, and again, he's panicked because why? He went through all that. I guess like me. He went through the same stuff I did. So he needs to slow down. He needs to go back to that first administration and calm down. Because if you remember in the beginning, he was reaching out to people. He was doing, the football toss with the paper towel roll. I mean, that was golden. Basically because he was relaxed. Right? They're hurrying him. Right? Right? Get away from the campaigning and the dogma. Because again, he didn't see the world as black and white, like you're my enemy. He was able to reach out to black communities in Texas and really seem like, again, he's hugging white people in North Couldn't you find some black people to hug? It sounds too much like DEI. I mean, that really made a statement where people were like, oh, okay, maybe he is real. In this black community in Texas, I think it was, they threw paper towels and they're handing out burgers and right. But it may be that the system's not allowing that. So you have to just kind of fix what you're doing. There's no reason to be screaming DEI. You got a gay man that just did great for you. You got women that are doing great for you. I don't know how many women you have, but Homan might be the next trans by what I see. They're willing Homan to be trans. It's one of their favorite curses on conservative people. It may be out there by default too. So I kind of went through it. I went to yoga and I kind of accepted that it was happening a little bit. Not that I was going to be gay or anything, but I'm like, okay, are they testing my ability to not be angry at it? Right. So I was like, because it was obvious they weren't going to let me be with women. And it's obvious that they were introducing gay scenarios. And I'm like, no, But I said, maybe I just, relax and let it happen. Not be it, but, not come against it. Right. Actually, it was liberalizing me a little bit. Right. So, to accept, not that I was against it. I never was. People do their thing and I do mine, I was just looking for a wife in a church initially, and then it became like a wife and, maybe yoga or something. Like, there's no reason that no woman came along but for them. Right. 100%, Larry. I was really a quote unquote great catch to a certain degree. And then the thing is, once I got with the woman, my life would straighten out the rest of the way. Where I would probably get places that I needed to get to, maybe more healthcare, maybe more dentistry. Right. I had great healthcare benefits. Had at least a partial retirement. Right. So like I said, the best thing to do at this point is to just go through my VA file, because I cannot go and get it taken care of, and it's going to take years anyway. The deep state, we'd still get in the middle of it, even with Trump as president. You know who I am. Go in there, grab that file. I'm sure you'll find enough for 100% disability, because I realize who's on 100% disability. Right? The inference was that this is how they pay people that are on disability, with disability, right? That are still working like I am, but not working. Right? Now, if they'd increased my disability that last time, I wouldn't have got stuck like I did. Right? I may not even have left Oklahoma, because I could afford a little bit more. Maybe I could. In the end, it turns out I could afford more, because I lost so much money and what the ending results were. Right? But I was just trying not to become living. You're not home poor, house poor, because I didn't have a house. But I tried to become not poor by having to pay so much for rent. Right. And it's a good deal here, but it really isn't a conducive place to live. But I don't need to get my head checked out. I know what's going on. I know what's going on for all these years. And the person that's actually putting that out there into the mind is actually one of them. The murderer. A piece of shit, filthy murderer. A rapist. Has sex with women that he forces to sex. 100%. Remember, the deep state is also deep stating women until they have sex with them. Like me, they won't let me get with anybody. They won't let the woman get with anybody until they have sex with the people, which is their operators. That's really going on. And they're using that high level of psychology for it. They'll use disruption technology to force a woman into sex. It's all satanic, if you ask me. Doesn't seem like they're using it for anything decent. Thank you, Larry. It's funny. This woman cracks me up. She's wearing long sleeves in this weather, but she's from Florida. She lived 40 years in Florida. Right. No, I would have had a good life had he not done this to me. Stayed in massage, met somebody somewhere, and probably would have returned to the church. Probably. I mean, I don't think I would have returned to Judaism. Right. Unless I met a Jewish woman. Right. They knew what they were doing. Like I said, they have the advantage of having done this to other people, so they know the outcomes are limited. This is one of the outcomes. Right. Physical disability like this and pain. And what they're trying to do is claim compliance, but claim compliance in the wrong direction. It's like uncompliance. Right. Now, they weren't supposed to be in my life like this. There's no doubt. I knew, at a certain point, I knew those people. The timing of the showing up of these people in Naples, it was obvious they were operators. Right. I mean, it was obvious that one guy, the guy with the black hair and the Crown Vic, was an operator. I don't know if he was really a deputy marshal or not. Right. No, even from the first days in Naples, they were screwing it up. They made their deals. Right. But they had party life, while they were there. They stole your life, is what they did. They wouldn't have gotten anything had they not focused on killing you. Right? That was something speaking. And I oracled. Yeah. Could be God, God's self. Right? Believe me, I am who I say I am. Now, have I said some things in the past where it wasn't who I am? Yeah, I had some mistakes. I made some mistakes in the beginning. Right? Again, like I said, I didn't know if because Jesus said I was his brother, and I'm like, I'm your brother. Am I James? And no, I wasn't on this planet that I'm his brother. Right? He's part of my heavenly family. That's pretty high up, and they're Mormons. Well, it's almost like science fiction. Like I said, life is stranger than fiction because it's science fiction. Oh, there's no way I could have known I was anybody. I was just an asleep person. I'm God's friend. I actually exist. I mean, I know I have all the other names and stuff, but that's pretty much best way to describe it. Well, God wanted a friend, so here I am. I was created to be God's friend. To send to this planet to destroy the entire place and its people. Thank you, Larry. Nah, I'm just God's friend. I wasn't even supposed to be on this planet. Satan put me here. Again, if you all weren't satanic, I'd have had a great life. And you all had a greater life with me having my great life. Thank you, March. Well, weather is just, I can't get over it. It's like normal. Wow, normal weather. Actually, it looks sunnier than it said it was going to be. We got to go through a little bit more. It'll cool down. Right, have some rain. But I love being out here. I'm cooped up in there way too much from that COVID. Right. So again, I did get a blip. I think I may have drank a cup of coffee before I started cleaning my apartment last time. So I might need a cup of coffee. The tea might not be enough to break me through whatever it is. Right. So I can feel like my neck has got tightness to it. So again, if I get massaged a certain way, again, it's to find that massage that works, and then also probably to get that steroid. Right. But I don't want to go through some crazy, like that was the craziest epidural. Because the guy in Amarillo, I said, I told him how he did that with the epidural. He said, no, I do it in my office right here all the time. Real quick. I had to go to a surgery center, and I was so numb, I was grossed out. Right. I was like, numb from my knees, up to, almost my middle back for like hours. I mean, usually I go in and I don't even notice I'm numb. They go bink, 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 and it's over. Right. Oh. And who knows if they use the right steroid? Who knows? When you talk about CIA and deep state, they'll pay somebody to give you a half the dose you're supposed to get, and then nothing happens for you. Right. And they just keep operating you that it won't work, don't ever do it again, kind of thing. Now, if I was healed, I'd be happy right now. Because again, I told you, don't take my health. Because I've had my health taken. So when I could tell that that's probably what they're doing, I told them not to do it. And I probably told them when I got back to massage. But yet they did a bunch of stuff after that. Again, it was kind of weird because the only person I talked to was this Linda woman. And she was like too MAGA. Like too far. And she convinced me that it wasn't safe in Santa Fe. And I don't know if it was. It wasn't. Theoretically, it wasn't. And maybe it wasn't. Right. Oh, shit. Because I got to the point where I was afraid to take, like, salt baths because, I kept falling asleep and it would overflow. And it wasn't my fault. I could have yelled at the guy. I said, look, you get somebody in here to fix this because it's supposed to Like if you fall asleep with your water running, it's not supposed to run over. The drain's supposed to drain. Right. Right. Wait, Larry. But I had fallen asleep, and it would. So I was like afraid to take that. So they were just, some of it spells. Right. And again, during COVID, I wasn't taking my baths, and it just was horrible. Right. But again, they may have drugged me. Again, the idea is all this stuff may actually protect me from whatever they're drugging me with, so I don't tighten up beyond a certain point. Right. No, they weren't supposed to be in my life. Again, I designed my life so it would work. I desired to design my life so it would work for the whole world, not just for me. Right. Thank you, Larry. And they would break it every time. I mean, they knew. They knew that I had disabilities. It's bullshit where he doesn't really have disabilities. He's just a crook. I mean, that's shit they would say. I was tortured. Seriously tortured. By these agents, PIs, crooks, all working together. That's the reason your kids are all addicted to drugs, because they all work together. It's not their kids. They don't care, right? Because, of course, they're getting paid $1 million in a lifetime easily. Probably multi-millions to do this. Again, a cop does it now as a cop. He's already shown that later in life he'll get little things now, and later in life he'll be a millionaire, right? And untouchable. They show me how whatever Karen Shelton said about me would be the law. Chief wouldn't even let me say what happened. Right? I was nice to the chief. I could have said this earlier. So it was a scam. So when they're killing you, they make you go into the employee assistance program. Because when they finally kill you or you kill yourself, he was in the employee assistance program. Oh, I get it. So she says that I screeched my tires in the parking garage like I was speeding. I saw her. The nasty whore was hiding. I mean, this alone should have gotten her in trouble. She's hiding behind a pillar, spying on me. She's a nut. So she waited for me to leave, and she came down the parking lot, and she's watching me. And who knows? She may have followed me home. I don't know. Right? Or followed me to the gym. I don't know. So the front tires, everybody knows in that parking garage, in any parking garage, your front tires can go when you turn real tight. So that's all it was. So she said I was screeching my tires in the parking garage, like I was burning out. So I was trying to explain it to Chief. Chief wouldn't accept it, so I knew he was in on it. So he says, and again, I couldn't remember all this until I could remember it. Right. So what he says, is pretty much what she says goes, and he says, well, go to the employee assistance program, we'll get rid of this letter of reprimand. So again, the employee assisted suicide program, bam. Right. So I was actually forced into it by a scam that Karen Shelton hatched. I mean, everybody knows in that park garage, if you cut your wheel, your wheel's going to go when you pull out. Right. It wasn't my rear tires. There's no doubt that she knew it wasn't. But her little wacko, psychopathic brain hatched a plan. Thank you, Larry. So again, they force you into the employee assistance program when they're going to kill you. Because it's kind of like it's like lunacy. Oh, that person killed themselves because they were in the employee assistance program. This all makes sense now. Thank you, Larry. How many times have you heard that? Makes no sense. Unless you know that it's the Employee Assisted Suicide Program, not the Employee Assistance Program. It gives them the cover story to kill you or to get you to kill yourself. Remember, there are people in every agency that are actually CIA, and they're enriched by CIA to commit crimes against their co-workers and members of the public. Thank you much. But they're not like official CIA. They may have never even spoke to a CIA person in their life. That is as lawful as it gets. Boy, it's a beautiful day today. Nice to be out in the warm weather, get some sun. Bless the world with beautiful podcasts. Proclaim the glory of God and the destruction of Satan. They're Satan. They're pure Satan. There's nothing else you can say past that. I mean, not even partial Satan. It's just in their mind, satanic activity is the highest activity on the planet. That's really how they are. Oh, they look like everyday people. You know, good-looking people, got money, got perfect life. They'll end in hell. Those are the people going to hell. Again, it's not the trans people necessarily. I'm sure there's some trans people are them, right? That's why I'm telling you, you got it all wrong, all of you. Right? And again, it's hard to tell you people. It gets very crazy in your mind when I say this, but if a person committed a murder, if a person committed a rape, even rape of a child, and their mind was possessed by these people I speak about, they're not going to hell. Because they're a victim. They were caused to fall. Again, it gets a little confusing in the scripture because it says the little ones. Right? So they make you think. It's weird because it's almost like a cover story for the ones that cause people to commit sex crimes against children. Because it's talking about the little ones. Well, the little ones are just humble people. And they may not seem humble. Again, I understand that. But again, people are naive or still humble, even if they don't seem humble. Right? I mean, they fit that, what God's intention was. And you know people are naive or asleep, right? So if they're pushed into these crimes, God doesn't judge them. The person that gets judged is the one that pushed them into the crime. And you may just make it difficult for them for 5 days, but something's able to possess their mind into some crime because you won't let them live a normal life. Again, when they get mad at me, well, that means he's admitting to committing a crime. No, I'm not. You should all be laughed at and ridicule for even insinuating that's what it is. It's obviously truth, and it's obviously the Bible, and it's obviously what you're doing in these agencies, departments, and private eye entities with the members of the public that you either bamboozle or that you hire to be devils like you. Thank you, Large. So again, you're whatever scam you got going on Earth, it doesn't translate into the afterlife. Breathe, Harry. Thank you, Larry. Again, when they torture you, they try to make you forget that they tortured you for nothing, like you did nothing. Like, oh, it's because you're talking. As soon as you stop talking, this all fixes. You know, it's like bullshit. Oh, now it would. No, actually, this time it would. No, I went through that one also. They tortured me and wouldn't settle for anything but permanent disability, like pain. Like I obviously had disability already. Right. I mean, they still didn't settle for it here, even though I was disabled here. I mean, you're sick bitches and sick bastards using your own language. So you understand. You're not killing a pedophile. You're not killing somebody that might murder somebody. You're playing your game out. And you get off on harming people. You get off on psychologically torturing people in directions they normally wouldn't go. You get off on it. You have orgy over it. Oh, you think I'm unbalanced because it's true, right? You're just here to rule me, right? Rule me in the right direction, right? Reason your kids are addicted to narcotics is because of these crooked cops. The reason your kids are put in sex trafficking are because of crooked cops. Then they come along and save you when they trickle that safety back to you. Right. You know, they put in your head, you have to let us do this because this is what's keeping you safe when they're the ones that are actually causing it. And if they cause it physically, then they cause it metaphysically, and they're devils. And they possess people to crime, sex crime, all of it. Possess your kids to be addicted to drugs. They get bigger as they commit these deep state crimes. That's how they get bigger, metaphysically, to force people to drugs and sex crimes. That's why you can't get four of it. The weird part is, the more of these crooked people you put in, but of course you believe they're not crooked, some of you, the worse it gets, right? And they tell you need more money, more cops. But the more cops you put into it, the worse it gets. Why? Because the devil's in there crooked. I mean, look, if you're doing ice work, I doubt you see this, all that much. Because I was a marshal, we didn't necessarily see. I mean, they did get corrupt at a certain point, right? Well, because the people that are doing this, some of them are protected. There's people that are there are Republican Party MAGA sheriffs that take money to let certain people sex traffic and smuggle immigrants in and all that. I agree, Larry. But yet, MAGA, Trump. I think we actually had one recently, right, that was committing some crimes. So you're only you're cleaning up a mess that dirty cops created. I mean, of course, there's criminal entities with them. Right. They get blackmailed, they do it. I got blackmailed, and I chose not to do it. Right. But then again, they get paid and everything else. And then all you do is let me retire. Never even thought of thinking about government ever again, or politics, or any of it. In fact, all I want to do is eventually lay in a yoga pose in California and relax. Loving yin yoga. Then it probably healed me and would keep me healed. But they have the right to mess that up. Or if I only would have pushed forward, okay, that you could say that up until you canceled my membership to Massage Envy. Then you can no longer say that. Right. Because I did push through, and I did push through many times. 100%. You see? Not true. Because you just jump up with more money, right? How much did that cost? $2 million? No, it's not. They don't consider the money real. It's monopoly money for the guys. They steal it from the government. They steal it from everywhere. It's like, how do you think people got to be millionaires? It's funny money. Elon's one of the biggest, most subsidized billionaires in the world. So again, I mean, I understand what he's saying. We got to fix government, but it doesn't make sense when he gets to a certain level. Right? Because I don't know if your corporation would have succeeded without subsidy. So who would you be then? Just another failed billionaire who's no longer a billionaire. I guess he probably wouldn't even have been a billionaire. Right? But again, you got your clique. Your clique would take care of you. Not free enterprise. Because your clique keeps out whoever they want to keep out. Maybe me. Maybe you kept me out. I don't know. Right. But when you start dissing the people that are actually doing the work that you ran on, I mean, that's a little bit too much. Like he's gonna make you believe in 6 months that him and Trump are the ones that actually, because the government worker ain't worth a shit, right? But Trump and Elon are the ones that are actually deporting everybody. Without them, there would be no deportation, right? So again, you have to start respecting the government employees. Correct. It's going to mess the operations up. How do you think they started all this other stuff against us, like these organizations? It's because we're being, they're cursing us, but also Elon's cursing us. Right? Because we're lazy. We don't go to work. Please. But yet you're spending more hours on the street than he's probably ever worked in his life. Especially real work. Thank you, Arch. I mean, the ice guy was just kind of like, I think he was a nice guy, the acting boss. He was like, well, yeah, if it's kind of true, yeah, maybe, I guess. Or something to that effect. He tried to make it sound like he was buying into it, but he kind of put it in there like, well, if you're doing that, you're doing it, but if you're not, you're not, or something. It's impossible. Right. It's impossible that only 6% of the government doesn't go and sit at home for 40 hours or even 10 hours. Again, you may have a person in there that spends an hour away from the office. But again, people spend time on the street working cases. They're not going to be in the office. What they did is they read the codes wrong. You have to know each person's work situation to know what's going on. Like some people don't even have offices because the government deemed it necessary or more beneficial for them not to have an office. Again, he talks about saving money. You put more people in the office, you got to turn up the heat more. Right. I think I'm going down here on power. I'm going to have to pretty soon charge this. Obviously, you all like causing pain. Do you understand how hell exists, all of you? These people psychologically operate, psychologically torture me, block me from healthcare and things in life using this psychological CIA-type machine. And again, the FBI calls it disruption technology. They're not disrupting me from committing a crime. They're using it to disrupt me from everyday things that everybody has a right to and I have a right to. Right. So you understand why hell exists. So they can experience pain. That's why it exists, for people that cause others to have pain. Now, again, if they destroy somebody's life and they can't get up high enough to not commit a murder and they commit it, they still have to pay for it. Again, don't cause somebody to not have a well mind and a well life, because you can end up going to hell for anything that would happen in their life, like you might harm somebody. Again, this is not an admission of crime, because commission of crime, or admission of commission of crime. That's what they'll put in your head. Right. That's their stupid defense. I mean, you can't call it anything else but a stupid defense. Let me go check to see if I got mail. I'm waiting on a credit card, so so I can get a bonus and get out of the financial mess I'm in. Which I'm kind of out of it a little bit. I mean, I got a $10,000 loan, so I have to pay that back. But I already had probably about a 5,000 in loans left. Right. And I have like, how you doing? Good. All right. So I got like a couple thousand in the bank that I was able to, put away over what I had before, and I only had like 1,000 at the end of bills. Right. So it worked well. I was afraid COVID was going to ruin it. Like I was able to return stuff that I ordered that never didn't work out. Like I ordered from Walmart, they didn't deliver, so I ordered from someone else, and then Walmart says they can't cancel the order. I'm like, yeah. I still have stuff in my apartment that I wish I could have returned, but at least I got some things returned. I was able to get that debt down enough where I think I'm okay. And again, I just got like I'd actually been way better off. I just got like a $200 bonus or something for a credit card. Right. And the other card's going to be like $250 or something. So it's going to, I mean, I'm not safe, but I'm better than I was. Right. All right, so let me see if I can. Again, that sound again, did you hear it? Right, something with a firearm, but I can't see where and when. So there's some danger out there with a firearm. Again, you can heal it if you can. Oh, okay, I'm going to switch this over to the other.